Today we continue Anattalakkhana Sutta, Sankkhara Khanda. We have to recite the Sankkhara Khanda first. So Sankkhara Khanda are 50 mental states. So all the above have to be changed into plural. Aboisantu, Aboisansu, Samviteyo, He Song, Hondu, Samvitanti, etc. So can you follow me? Sankkhara Bhikkhave Natta Sankkhara Jahidam Bhikkhave Atta Abhaisansu Naidan Sankkhara Avadaya Samviteyo Labetacha Sankharesu Evo me Sankkhara Hondu Evo me Sankkhara Mahi Sondi Yasamaja Ko Bhikkhave Sankkhara Natta Tasama Sankkhara Avadaya Samvitanti Nacha Lavati Sankharesu Evo me Sankkhara Hondu Evo me Sankkhara Mahi Sondi. We recite together. Sankkhara Bhikkhave Natta Sankkhara Jahidam Bhikkhave Atta Abhaisansu Naida Sankkhara Avadaya Samviteyo Labetacha Sankharesu Evo me Sankkhara Hondu Evo me Sankkhara Mahi Sondi Yasamaja Ko Bhikkhave Sankkhara Natta Tasama Sankkhara Avadaya Samvitanti Nacha Lavati Sankharesu Evo me Sankkhara Hondu Evo me Sankkhara Mahi Sondi. English translation, recite together slowly. Monks, Sankkhara, volitional formation are not safe. Regarding Sankkhara, Buddha said, Sankkhara Bhikkhave Natta. All the activities, physical, verbal, and mental activities going, standing, sitting, lying down, stretching, moving, smiling, talking, thinking, seeing, hearing, etc. All these Sankkhara, all these activities are not living entities that carry out these Sankkhara. But from the viewpoint of ordinary people, they argue, there obviously exists a living entity. There's the action, activities of going, standing, sitting. Living entity is performing these activities. Why it is not atta, why it is not a living entity. Then Buddha refused this belief by stating, Yasamaja Kobekwe Sankkhara Nada, Tasama Sankkhara Abhadaya Samvitanti. Sankkhara Jahidam Bekwe Atta Abhuisansu, Naidan Sankkhara Abhadaya Samviteyo, etc. So Buddha gives the reason why these activities are not safe. Monks, while these Sankkhara volitional activities serve in a core, they would not inflict. And it would be possible to manage these Sankkhara. Let these Sankkhara be all wholesome. Let all these Sankkhara be not unwholesome and manageable as you wish. So Sankharas are 50 mental states. Sankhara are mental state headed by Chetana volition. There are 52 kinds of mental states. Vedana is Vedana Khanda, Sinya is Sinya Khanda. Remaining 50 mental states constitute the aggregates of mental formations, Sankhara Khanda. But in Suttanta discourses, only Chetana, the volition, is enumerated as representing the Sankhara activities. But according to Abhidhamma, you have other mental formation such as phassa, contact, manasikara, attention, vitaka, initial applications or thoughts, vichara, sustained application, piti, zest, lobha, greed, dosa, hatred, moha, delusion, alobha, non-greed, adosa, non-hatred, moha, non-delusion, etc. that can produce karmic effect. So these 50 kinds of mental formations are responsible for all kinds of activities. It is these 50 mental formations which instigate and direct activities. You go, you stand, you sit, you listen, you see, you sleep, you bend, you stretch, you smile, you speak, as if it is urging you Now very good Sankkhara instigating, listen to Dhamma Talk, pay attention carefully. So good Sankkhara are urging you, go to meditate, take meditation retreat, and you are here. Who urge you? Sankkhara. Kusala Sankkhara, wholesome mental activities, are urging and directing the meditators. So these actions are being carried out as directed and motivated by the Sankkhara, which also instigate and direct mental activities. You think. It is necessary to think, and then you thinking, see it. It is necessary to see, and you see it. Listen, and you listen it. Hear, and you hear it. So also it's instigating and directing your mental activities. So how Sankkhara oppress? Buddha asked to reflect in this way, what Sankkhara which are responsible for all action, self, the living entity in oneself, they would not inflict, they would not oppress you. Actually, they are oppressing in many ways. Very unfortunately, Lobha, Sankkhara is interfere, it engage in activities out of desire, out of greed. He become exalted because Lobha, greed there, and he tried to get it. And he become exalted and distressed. Because of greed, he speaks something which should not be spoken, and he become embarrassed. Lobha, he not mindful that Lobha, greed, and he do things which should not be done. Then he gets punished for criminal offenses. He burns himself with longing, desire for which he suffer, loss of appetite, loss of sleep, etc. A lot of suffering because of Lobha Sankkhara. Because of Lobha, greed, he do evil deeds such as stealing, telling lies, killing, etc. And he have to go down to the lower states, undergoing intense miseries. So Lobha Sankkhara oppress that person. And dosa, anger, he not mindful. Evolution Sankkhara accompanied by dosa, hatred, motivates action, verbal as well as physical, which are not wise. And it produces distress and suffering. And other akusala Sankkhara, moha, delusion, mana, conceit. So these Sankkhara also oppress. Pollution accompanied by delusion, conceit, and wrong views. leads that person to distress and suffering in this present life and in the states of woeful, in the states of woe. So these are various ways by which Sankkhara oppress. So if Sankkhara was safe, it would not be oppressive in this manner. If Sankkhara volitional activity is safe or one's inner substance, it should be possible to arrange and organize you wish. Wholesome activities, productive or beneficial results, only are carried out as you wish, and not those activities which will harm myself. You do not wish that activities which will harm yourself. Actually, it is not possible to manage these activities as you wish. The person will find himself engaging in activities he should not do, speaking of things he should not speak of, thinking of thoughts he should not think about. If conditions are favorable, unfortunately, bad condition, and he will do these akusala Sankkhara. In this way, it could be seen that Sankkhara is not our management, not our control, and so it is not self, it is not our inner core, and Buddha had to enable us to see in this way. So Buddha taught directly. Marks in reality, Sankkhara are not self. Yasamaja ko bhikkhave Sankkhara anatta tasma Sankkhara abhadaya samvitanti. In reality, Sankkhara are not self, not our inner core. For this reason, they tend to inflict distress, and it is not possible to manage and control these Sankkhara. Let these Sankkhara be all wholesome, let these Sankkhara not be all unwholesome. So volitional activities are not self, not our inner core, but they are of the nature of insubstantiality, occurring in accordance with their own condition and circumstances. So these volitional activities accordingly are oppressing. How they are oppressing? Unfortunately, bad companion, etc. And through bad companions, through defective guidance of unwise friends, and through wrong attitudes of mind, he gets involved in activities which he should not do, he should not speak of, he should not think about. So with respect to mundane affairs, he gets engaged in blatant worldly actions, illegal activities, and indulge in bad habits, drinking, drug taking, and gambling. And also Lobha and dosa, akusala Sankkhara, because of greed and anger. He speaks about that which should not be spoken about. Such activities result in destruction of his property, punishment by legal authorities, and loss of good friends and associates. So from the spiritual and moral standpoint, killing, stealing, sexual misconducts, telling lies, etc., produce bad results, leading even to misery in woeful states. And also Kusala Sankkhara, now meditators are developing Kusala Sankkhara again and again. These Kusala Sankkhara also very breakable. You very carefully need to develop. If not, if conditions are not favorable, they are breaking down very quickly. So volitional activities oppress. Volitional activities oppressed by producing a bad karmic effect. So here we have to recount an incident of how akusala Sankkhara, volitional activities of slandering, result in dire distress. At one time, Venerable Lakhana and Venerable Mauklana came down from the peak of Vulture to go rounds for alms food. On their way down, Venerable Mauklana saw a hungry ghost. Peter, with his celestial eyes, Devachaku Abhinya. Venerable Mauklana saw needles piercing and passing through the body of the hungry ghost. Some needles entered his head to emerge from his mouth. Some needle entered from the mouth and came out from the chest. Some needles entered from the chest and left from the stomach. Some pierced through the stomach, leaving from the thigh. Some needles came in by the thighs and left by the legs. Some needles entered by way of the legs and left from the feet. The hungry ghost was subjected to great suffering and was running about with intense pain. Where the needle come from? From which factory these needles are produced? These needles are very fast, like a missile, following that kinds of hungry ghosts. So this missile needle chase the hungry ghost wherever he ran and pierced his body. On seeing his plight, the Venerable Mauklana reflected on the fact that Now he was free from all these karmic effects that would land him in the existence of hungry ghost. Because he was Arhan, for Arhan, rebirth is no more. He have lived the pure life, and he have done what ought to be done. Venerable Moggallana was Arhan. Yes, before attaining enlightenment, he may have suffered the kinds of miseries. Now Venerable Moggallana very pleased with the thoughts of his self-liberation. So he made a smile. When the Venerable Moggallana smiled, his companion Venerable Lakkhana noticed, and Venerable Lakkhana asked Moggallana, why you make a smile? There's nothing, there's nobody there in the forest. Yes, Venerable Lakkhana was not developed enough to see that hungry ghost. He would not believe the story of that hungry ghost. He would have doubt on the words of the Moggallana. So Venerable Moggallana did not tell him what he saw that hungry ghost. So Moggallana Thera just told Venerable Lakkhana, you can ask it again when we get the presence of the Buddha. So Venerable Moggallana did not answer. You can ask this question when in front of the Buddha. So they went to their monastery, and after the meal, when they reached the presence of the Buddha, Venerable Lakkhana repeated the question. Bhante Moggallana, why you made a smile when we were coming down from the Bolcha Peak? And the Venerable Moggallana said, Venerable Lakkhana, I saw a hungry ghost being inflicted with piercing needles, and I smiled because I realized on reflection that I had become free from such akusala Sankkhara, unwholesome volitional activities. Then Buddha said in admiration, my disciples are well equipped with penetrative insight knowledge. My eyes. I saw this hungry ghost on the eve of my enlightenment while seated on the throne of wisdom. But since there was no other eyes witness of me, I have not said a word about this hungry ghost. Now that I have the Venerable Moggallana to corroborate me, I shall tell about him. I myself speak only reluctantly about such a matter because people with skeptical doubt would not believe it. Buddha said. And Buddha said that why in human existence that being had committed the serious misdeed or slandering, for which wholesome Sankkhara, akusala Sankkhara, he had to undergo intense suffering, misery for millions and millions of years. Having come up from the hell, he had become this hungry ghost to suffer for the remaining portion of the resultant akusala Sankkhara. And that hungry ghost was invisible to the ordinary vision. So the Venerable Lakkhana did not see that hungry ghost. The needles that kept piercing and pestering that hungry ghost did not fall upon other creatures or beings. They were inflicted only on that hungry ghost. Who did unwholesome volitional activities before. So there is an example of how Sankkhara is oppressing. Abhadaya samvidanti. Abhadaya samvidanti. Sankkhara are oppressing. And there were other hungry ghosts also visible to the Venerable Moggallana. There was a cattle slaughterer who became hungry ghost, chased by vulture, crows, and eagles who attack him with their beaks. The poor hungry ghost was shrieking, screaming wildly and running about to escape from the merciless attacks of the birds. Then there was the bird hunter who had become a hungry ghost in the shape of a piece of meat. That hungry ghost was similarly pestered by vulture, crows, and eagles. He was also wailing and fleeing from the attacking birds. Venerable Moggallana saw these hungry ghosts. And Venerable Moggallana saw the sheep slaughterer, hungry ghost. The sheep slaughterer, that hungry ghost, was no outer skin covering his body, a bloody messy lump of flesh. He was also target of attacks by vulture, crows, and eagles, and he too was shrieking, screaming, and fleeing from the birds. And Venerable Moggallana saw another hungry ghost who was the pig slaughterer before. This hungry ghost had knives and two-edged swords falling upon him, cutting him up. And also Venerable Moggallana saw hungry ghost who was the hunter of wild animals. That hungry ghost had spears piercing him. They were all running about wildly, shrieking and bewailing and screaming. Furthermore, Venerable Moggallana saw hungry ghosts who were suffering because of unwholesome Sankkhara, unwholesome volitional activities, such as torturing other people and committing adultery. So this example of oppressive nature of Sankkhara, oppressive nature of unwholesome volitional activities, and the hell beings of lower states, creatures of the animal world, are undergoing suffering because of akusala Sankkhara, unwholesome volitional activities which they had done in the past. Now you can see in our world, in our human world, unfortunate people have misery due to difficulties of earning livelihood, due to sickness, serious sickness, due to maltreatment by other people. Why they suffer a lot? They have their origin in the past akusala Sankkhara, unwholesome volitional activities. So these akusala Sankkhara, unwholesome volitional activities are oppressing because they are anatta, they are not self, they are not our inner core. And it is not possible to manage. You not let to you not let to unwholesome Sankkhara to arise, and and let only wholesome Sankkhara, wholesome volitional activities appear. It is not possible. So this is within our personal experience of practicing meditators. Meditators try very hard. They want to develop their vipassana Sankkhara. From 3 to 11, the whole day you practice continuously. Moment by moment, you are developing vipassana Sankkhara, vipassana volitional activities confined only to meditation. But they find, especially at the initial stage of meditation, distraction, undesirable distraction appear. Mind is going here and there. They are really distraction. And under the guidance of lobha, greed, various thoughts suggesting different procedure from meditational practice keep on arising in the beginning because mindfulness is not very strong yet. And other thoughts under the guidance of dosa, akusala Sankkhara, mana, conceit, akusala Sankkhara appear during the practice of meditation. These lobha, dosa, mana, greed, hatred, and conceit telling the yogi, do it this way, do it that way. They are telling and suggesting. A yogi capture these akusala sankhara, just no desire, hatred, conceit. So yogi capture these akusala sankhara, yogi tried to remove these destructive thoughts, noting continuously, liking, desiring, thinking, etc. And all these volitional activities tend to afflict meditators. So they are unmanageable as you wish. So these sankhara are not self, not your inner core, but mere insubstantiality dependent on respective condition. These sankhara are likened to the rain, the sun, or the wind. We have nothing with the rain, no control over the rain. When we wish for the rain, we may not get it unless such conditions as rain, clouds, humidity, wind, elements, etc. are favorable. When the conditions are right and favorable, we may get rain even if we do not want it. In the same way with the sun, when covered by clouds, there is no sunshine, even though we wish for sunshine. In the absence of the covering clouds, the sun shines brightly whether we want it or not. And the wind blows only when atmospheric conditions are favorable. When conditions are not favorable, there is no wind, however much we wish for the wind. So these external phenomena have nothing to do with us. We have no control over them. In the same way, the Sankkhara, volitional activities are internal phenomena over which also we have no control. They are happening in accordance with the conditions. So they are anatta, they are not self. So remember, Buddha said these sankhara are not self, monks, sankhara are not self. If sankhara volitional activities are self, they would not tend to afflict, and it would be possible to manage these sankhara. Let sankhara be all wholesome, let sankhara be not unwholesome, and manage as you wish. So in the beginning, meditator do not accept anatta. Very difficult to accept it. And we have to advise only this: try your best in meditation. Meditation will show you that there is atta or anatta. A yogi tried to note everything moment by moment. The yogi constantly taking note of the phenomena of psychophysical phenomena, and it becomes very obvious how these sankhara, volitional activities, are not manageable, how they are uncontrollable. The yogi tried to keep noting the primary object rising and falling of the domain, while contemplating the movements of the abdomen, the bodily movements, and noting them as rising, falling. Then stiffness arises. And stiffness, yogi noted stiffness, too stiff, and desire to change postures. What desire? This desire is nothing but mental activities headed by volition, cetana, Sankkhara. It is volition which is giving silent instruction. Hey, change the postures. It's very stiff. Change the postures. A yogi wants to continue on noting without changing position, but because of the repeated urging of cetana, volition, finally yogi have to change the postures. This is an unwanted Sankkhara, unwanted volitional activities. In the same way, when noting feeling of pain, heat, itchiness, yogi note pain, heat, itchy. And finally, yogi have to change. So posture is changed as directed by the ungovernable Sankkhara. And during the course of meditation, thoughts on sensual pleasures may appear. There is Sankkhara, volitional activities, which the yogi does not wish for. Mindfulness is there, so mindfulness will take place. Yogi note desire, and these akusala Sankkhara have to be removed by incessant noting, by continuous noting. At the same time, Sankkhara may ask yogi sometime, get up, you have to do something, you have to go, you have to meet someone, you have to talk to someone, you have to look here and there to inquire something, to do some work. The Sankkhara are urging you. So these are all undesirable Sankkhara which rise up all the same, whether you like it or not. So these are instances of unmanageable Sankkhara, uncontrollable nature of Sankkhara. So these akusala Sankkhara should not be welcome, but discarded by continuous noting. And there is one clinging, that is sami atta clinging. Do you think that there is a manageable self, there is controllable self? If you have that kinds of clinging, that there is manageable, controllable self, that is sami atta clinging. So to remove this, yogi have to take note of the presently arising nama, rupa, mind, and metta as they take place. a yogi notice clearly that what you desire does not happen. What you not desired is happening. So by practicing meditation continuously, you become to notice very clearly what you desire does not happen. What is not desire is happening. So in this way, meditators can get rid of that sami atta clinging. As you observe the process of arising and disappearing, and see, yogi can see that which is desired to be maintained, getting dissolved. Which is desired to be maintained, getting dissolved. If you see the kinds of arising and disappearing of this process, you can abandon sami atta clinging. And nothing is seen to remain stable. Everything is dissolving, perishing. When you see this, nivasi atta clinging can be removed. Because nivasi atta clinging believes in permanent existence of self. Belief in permanent existence of self in your body is called nivasi atta clinging. So meditator perceive also that any event takes place only when various factors concerned with the event come together to fulfill the necessary condition for its happening. And for seeing, the arising of seeing consciousness, seeing arises. Why seeing arises? Because there is eye sensitivity, the visible object, as well as the sufficient light. And then there must be the intention to look. So when there is eye sensitivity, retina, and the visible object or sight, very clearly visible, and the acts of seeing arise. A hearing arise when there is eardrums, a sound wave, and the space is not blocked. An intention to hear, bending your mind to hear. So when there is eardrums and clearly audible sound, the acts of hearing will surely takes place. An act of touching will take place when there is the object, tactile body, bodily impression and intention to touch, and touching arises. So you see that respective resultant events of seeing, hearing, smelling, touching take place when corresponding factors necessary for the arising of the events have come together. Now yogi decides, yogi clearly confirms that no self, nor living entity capable of causing to see, hear, and touch exists. So by this way, meditators can remove the karaka atta clinging. You do not think that there is self or living entity, masterminding, overseeing all kinds of activities. So in order to remove that kinds of clinging, Buddha had taught that Sankkhara, volitional activities are not self, not living entity. So Sankkhara Khanda is very important. Every activities have to be very carefully observed, and you will see clearly that these Sankkhara are anatta, not self. So we will continue next time. We have to stop our discourse for today. By practicing vipassana meditation, by observing every phenomena occurring at the six senses, by noting, rising, falling, seeing, hearing, smelling, walking, bending, stretching continuously and meticulously, may all yogis be liberated from all suffering. May all yogis realize the real peace in the very near future.